Republicans slamming the move by Democrats to at least begin looking at adding 4 justices to the Supreme Court, which would bring the number to 13. Here to weigh in on this obvious power grab, should they actually go through with it, is conservative filmmaker Dinesh D'Souza. Also, the Dinesh D'Souza podcast, which all of you should check out. He's doing it every day, recording it. Dinesh, great to see you.
Hey, my pleasure. Good to be with you.
Dinesh, I see this. I see the headline. It hits last night on the news sites, and then today I know we're all going to be talking about this. This part of me just feels like, how could we even be surprised at this point? Everything about the Biden administration so far seems to be no good faith, no middle ground, scorched earth, my way or the highway.
I agree, and I think that it is a little bit of our naivete not to expect this, and in fact, not to anticipate it. If you played Mitch McConnell basically saying, if we had done this a year or two ago, they would have been screaming. Well, maybe we should have done it, because had we done it, it would have taught them a lesson, and it would have made them a little more reluctant to do it themselves, because they would see that two can play this game. Right now, the reason the left is pushing ahead on all fronts is they're constantly catching us off guard. We seem to be like neophytes in this game. And so they're like, wow, we discover we can round up all the corporations. We can kick them off the platforms. We can pack the court. And we're discovering all of this is meeting with surprisingly little resistance other than the kind of just sort of shows of outrage. And so I think the left feels emboldened by the fact that they're not meeting any significant resistance, and they know that we won't dream of doing it to them.
Dinesh, one of my frustrations, and you're alluding to, I think, a similar sentiment here, is that when Trump won the election, the next day there was active hashtag resistance marching through the streets of New York City, all the institutions the left controls, certainly the media and Hollywood, everything was united in this effort to do whatever they could to oppose Trump in whatever way they could, including making up the Russia collusion conspiracy theory and all these other things. Where is our hashtag resistance on the right? It feels like we're hoping that they're going to exhaust themselves with these attempts at autocracy in a one-party state. I think that's a very bad strategy.
Yeah, I think this can all be summarized in what I would call the classic, Ronna McDaniel tweet, which is things like, the Democrats must not do this and they must not do that, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, they don't care what Ronna McDaniel says. And the must not is another way of saying, I don't have any way of doing anything about this. I'm merely annoyed by it. But essentially, I'm going to grudgingly just go along with it. So this is a sign, I think, of a serious problem on our side, which is an unwillingness to grasp the situation as it is. Here's a small example. I was just yesterday talking on Fox about a Swiss billionaire who wants to buy the Tribune newspapers. This is a left-wing billionaire. The Tribune is already left-leaning. So the whole idea is to buy these media properties as instruments of propaganda. Now, there's a good deal of money on our side, but our guys don't want to buy the Washington Post for $250 million. I mean, think of it. The Washington Post is up for sale for $250 million. There are probably 30 guys on the right who could write that check without blinking, and yet not one of them would dream of doing it because they're wondering things like, well, what's the return? Aren't newspapers out of date? How many people read newspapers today? Instead of saying it's the Washington Post, it has an impact on all the networks. So if we want to be in this game and fight with the same weapons as the left, we need to have a network. We need to have serious newspapers. We need to have universities and academic programs. We need to be able to make movies. But it doesn't seem like we seem very inert on this cultural front, which these days is the name of the game.
Dinesh, Speaker Nancy Pelosi spoke specifically about her view on whether they should do court packing or not. I wanted to have you react to this. Play the clip.
Do you support Jerry Nadler's bill to expand the Supreme Court by 4 seats? And would you commit to bringing that bill to the floor?
No. I support the president's commission to study such a proposal. But frankly, I'm not.
Dinesh, I mean, support this study? We all know what this support the study of the proposal. I mean, I just wonder, I have a few feelings here, and trying to get inside Nancy Pelosi's brain is obviously a dangerous experiment. But is this all a Democrat Mott and Bailey argument where, well, okay, maybe they didn't pack the Supreme Court, but they're just going to break the filibuster for something else, right? I mean, what do you see happening here? How is it that on the one hand they're pushing this forward, but then Nancy Pelosi is kind of babbling as she does?
Well, no. I think there's something going on here, which is this. The logic of Nadler and these guys goes like this. They're basically thinking, listen, Biden, you're playing a little pirouette dance game. You want to set up a commission, stack it with left-wing academics. They'll recommend expanding the court. But listen, that's all going to take 10 months. Why don't we jump the gun and just do it now? We all know why this commission is coming out, so why go through the pretense? Let's just kind of get to the conclusion and get to it tomorrow. Now, Nancy Pelosi is more on track with the Biden approach, which is, listen, the American people will be a little alarmed. This is a very divided country. It's not like one party enjoys vast majority support. So for the left to try to grab the only institution of government that might provide some resistance, Pelosi realizes that's kind of politically dangerous. So she wants to do the tap dance, pirouette, backward somersault routine, but Nadler is trying to cut her off at the pass and basically say, why go through all the formalities? Let's just do it now.
Dinesh, that forces the question. Do you think they might actually do this? Do you think they might actually get this done in Biden's first term?
I do not think the likelihood is that they will. I think that they will exhaust a lot of effort trying. In some ways, they're better off to focus on things like H.R. 1 and the filibuster, because if they get H.R. 1, this will give them, this is almost like getting the home team advantage in every game going forward. And so that's going to give them the chance to build the kind of majority that could eventually control the court. But I think the effort to just go for the court right now, it's a little bit of a Hail Mary pass. And I think that's going to be difficult even getting 50 Democrats to be on board with that.